it's got to be said. Something's got to be done. Things are just not clicking for the Montreal Canadiens. We got to talk about certain underperforming players as Kirby Dach has a bit of a bounce-back game. Juraj Slafkovsky continues to seem like not the bus driver that he could be. And while there were some great things in this game, including Jayden Struble, who we are going to take a good section of this video to talk about, there was a lot gone wrong as the team's least shots per game in the entire league. The Montreal Canadiens come in and put on a stinker, getting under 20 shots again. Jesse, there's a lot to mention on that front, but we also got to talk about our boy, Ivan Demidov, and not only was he getting praise from his own teammate Tony DeAngelo in an awesome quote, Sportsnet had a great article highlighting just why you should be excited. Let's get into all that in this episode of Habs Digest. And I want to start with Demidov because this is something that we like to talk about. Start the video off, get excited, get back into this mood, because I know it's going to suck talking about the game, but I know you guys want to talk about that stuff later. You can skip to that if you want, but let's get these spirits up. Jesse, Jason Bukala on Sportsnet in a great article that I will link down below, kind of went into a bit of a scout's analysis and progress report on Ivan Demidov. Basically said in his recent 10-game segment, he's played 12 minutes of ice time per game, but a lot of that's big minutes, like 16 minutes against Sochi and Sibir, but only 644 versus the higher-ranked teams. Well, I think it's at least progression that he's playing against these higher-ranked teams instead of being scratched. But the big thing, Jesse, is he says the strength, speed, skill, and drive in the hard areas of the ice are what impress him the most. He transitions pucks quickly through the neutral zone, attacks the net, he extends plays along the boards, and while, yes, he could use a little bit more focus defensively, lock in a bit more there, what 18-year-old offensive superstar couldn't? I know we're going to get into Tony DeAngelo's quote in just a second, but Jesse, like, these things here to hear from a scout to say, like, these are the big factors with Demidov is exactly what we've been seeing, and these are a lot of the skills that you truly do believe will translate to the NHL.
And it's so great to hear that so many analysis and even players are noticing these similar things of, being so strong on his skates. Obviously, we see the skill, but then that willingness to really attack the net is really what's separating him from the competition right now. We see all the points that he's getting, Josh, while 95% of his ice time has been at 5 versus 5. While we know that Ivan Demidov is a first-line power play, like, first unit type of guy, like, this is a power play merchant that's not getting the chance to really apply his craft. And just look at all the chances and all the points that he's still getting all the same. So it just goes to show once he really kind of gets those opportunities even further, he's going to continue to run with it. The big knock-on of like defensively and everything else like that, it's like it's very rare for have a complete to be that good offensively, have a nose for a net, and then just be completely, so well-rounded there. But the thing is like not to worry about Demidov is that he is a competitor. And it's kind of for that reason, it's like, while he has those intangibles that you can't really teach, it's like he's also got that competitiveness that just doesn't make me worry about him defensively at all either.
No, I mean, he seemed locked in so far, and I know the Habs can get him to lock in as well. But yeah, he's been absolutely amazing to watch. And yeah, in 30 games, he's only had 24 power play shifts, and that's some plays that he can be very productive, as we've seen. But it's not just from the scouts that are saying he's been doing amazing. His own teammate, Tony DeAngelo, love him or hate him. I'd say most of you probably don't love him too much, but he was a great NHL player, and he had this quote on Daily Faceoff's Morning Cup of Hockey. He said, "World-class talent. It's hard for me to believe that it was Celebrini than 3 more guys that went over him. He's a dynamic skater. He's real strong in his skates. He flies. He's got a big-time shot, top-notch skill." Went on to say, "The lowest end possible, to me, is a 30-goal top 6 winger." And, Tony DeAngelo didn't have to go out of his way to say this kind of thing, Jesse. Tony could have just said whatever the heck he wanted. I know it's his teammate. I know he's going to praise his teammate, hype his teammate. But to go out there and give his own baseline for Demidov, in his opinion, he's not a pro scout or anything. I know professional athletes sometimes aren't the best judges of other professional athletes' talent. This is still awesome. And he's clearly seeing the talent that's there with Ivan Demidov. And hey, maybe even Tony DeAngelo might be lobbying for Roman Rottenberg to give Ivan a few more minutes because they've been pretty mutually beneficial on that team.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not even the first time that DeAngelo is really giving the praise to Demidov here as we see it. It's really the big thing is like, he's calling him world class. Like he's saying like at the very top of all the best players, like this is what Ivan Demidov, this is what I think, and that really matters a lot from a player who was, effective, albeit all the same in his NHL career. And like, I've kind of referred to it like we're not trying to say he's McDavid, but the way that he can dominate in the offensive zone, it is McDavid-esque at certain points. The creativity that he's able to show, the angles of attack, is kind of reminiscent of a McKinnon as well. So it's fair that the best players in the world really there's just certain specific things about their game that we are kind of seeing with Demidov. Again, maybe the Datsukian hands as well. The comparisons to the very best in this game continue. And to be honest, like Tony DeAngelo is fully right by saying all of this.
I'm just so excited, man. After watching this team struggle to get any shots on net, like the idea that Demidov and Line could come in here soon just to spur this team is super exciting. But anyway, let's just get into the game. Let's just move on to this. Super excited for Demidov, but I'm gonna make this bigger. Feel free to pause, take a look. Jesse, we kind of had our ideas of what we wanted to talk about in terms of this game. And I know we'll talk about Slav a little bit later, because I do want to mention him a bit. I know we didn't even talk about this before the video, but I just wanted to point out, is it just me? I'm going to ask you this question, because this just came to my head. Does not having Mike Matheson in the lineup really make that big a difference to you? Because to me, he was sorely missed tonight. Like, that, not having two different defensive pairings that can create offensive chances was extremely noticeable. I'm not the world's biggest Mike Matheson lover or supporter or anything, but to me, not having him in the lineup tonight made a huge difference, and at least I noticed it.
It's a fair point. He's a good player, but just polarizing in some ways. Yeah. We know the skill, but I think there's just a buildup of certain things, like not passing to Slav, sometimes letting the puck in the blue line, but like we know how good he can be as well, right? So it's just kind of one of those things. I think it's a fair point to kind of be said there. In general, it's like obviously Guhle was taking up a lot of minutes. I did like to see Hudson on the first power play unit, even though it wasn't always the best, always as smooth as it could be at certain points. Like, I like that he got that experience. Those are obviously like very big for the development in Hudson. I think that they will kind of get that right as they have more time together. But at the same time, I know we'll speak about Struble a little bit, kind of getting on. Some guys did pick up the slack in certain ways.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just get into the stuff that did happen. First of all, my boy Alex Newhook going out there and scoring a goal. I don't know what happened with Vejmelka there. He just lost track of the puck. Newhook now up to 5 goals, 0 assists this season. But the big one here, Jayden Struble. I mean, I do have to play the Newhook animation if we're going to do this first, because, he's my guy. I love whenever he scores a goal. He's looked pretty comfortable on that first line. I thought he's fit very well. But Jesse, Jayden Struble's a guy I really wanted to bring up right now. Now, these stats are before this game. He's now up to 16 games with 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. And that goal, it'll play the Newhook one again, but be patient. Struble will be right after. My gosh, 2 goals in 2 games for Jayden Struble, but it's not only that, Jesse. He looks so strong. His ability to throw other players around is crazy. Now, we know he's built basically like a Greek god. This dude is jacked, and he is strong. He has a heavy shot. That offensive upside that we've been talking about for ages and ages finally starting to show through. He was one of the few players that just wasn't afraid to fire the puck. It was like him, Cayden, Guhle, and Emil Heineman. Whatever they had it laying, they were firing the puck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jayden Struble already almost has half as many shots as last year. I think he's up to like 20-something shots now. He only had like 50 all of last year or something like that, and he's only at a quarter of the games. This guy's starting to flash a little more offense. Anyway, I thought he had a phenomenal overall game today.
And he's really endearing himself to Kent Hughes, because when you play a kind of simple, effective game, that's actually what leads very well to winning hockey, no doubt, and also in the playoffs as well. So when I'm seeing some things from him, it's like, okay, I know he's kind of on that brink right now of kind of solidifying his NHL place. By playing like this, he is absolutely continuing that, and to continue on with a couple other bright spots from this game, I think 3 big things, like takeaways, is that like 5v5, and the PK was pretty good along with Monty tonight. Monty very good in that first period. Our PK bailing us out, but like when we're playing with speed and attacking that neutral zone, we're being effective. We're playing well. Nice to see Doc, obviously, like having a little bit of a better game. But didn't you notice, Josh, like he kind of got burnt a little bit on that overtime game. Like, I know for a guy whose confidence, like, you saw him at the end of the game, like he was so frustrated. I hope that he doesn't take that to heart, because it was a solid effort in certain ways. But Josh, like there are some negatives, which I think, we still need to speak about all the same. Is that like, a big one is like, Hudson taking an ill-advised pinch. We love Lane over here, right? But like pinching when you're up by a goal just wasn't the time to really leave the station there. It's like knowing your spots of when it's that right time to kind of hang back. He'll get that right going forward. But the big thing again is like, Josh, why isn't Marty addressing the fact that this team needs to take more shots on net? Like there's a direct correlation of when they're winning games and how many shots that they have on net. Like we did some math kind of before this. We were looking at like 25.9 shots per game when they're winning. That's still around the bottom of the league, even of shots on net, but still that's kind of when we're getting the dubs. 22.4 shots on net, on average when we're losing games. So like we just need to start funneling some pucks a little bit more towards the net, like Struble, playing a little bit more of that simpler game when we're getting those opportunities. Like, what's your thoughts, Josh? Because sometimes it's like, okay, we did get good chances, but like, do you find it's better to kind of get that volume while still trying to get those good chances? Do you think they should hold on to it, maybe kind of be a little bit more selective? What's your thoughts there?
I mean, I just think the team doesn't have enough of that high-end skill to afford to be selective every single time. I think there's a lot of times where I think they wait for that perfect opportunity and it never comes. There was a point in this game where Jake Evans picked up the puck. It was just him and the goalie, but he was looking away. He was looking to see if Heineman could be there on the back door, right?
Right.
And like, there's guys, like I said, Heineman shoots every single time he gets a chance. I love it, right? Caufield's the same way. He's never going to hesitate. You got guys like Guhle and even Struble right now, but even sometimes Suzuki's a bit too hesitant to shoot. Slav is playing with such a lack of confidence. Dach tried some confident moves tonight. They didn't quite work out, but he almost scored a goal and he drew a penalty. So like, just getting more pucks on the net's always going to lead to good things. Put the puck on the net, good things will happen. Even if it's from the point. Yeah. If we had Matheson tonight, there probably would have been at least another 4 or 5 point shots. But I do want to, before we end this video, talk about the elephant in the room here, and that's Juraj Slafkovsky and Kirby Dach. Did play on the 4th line tonight. They were both still in the PP1. They both looked like trash on the PP1. Honestly, they didn't really do much. Slafkovsky with 11 minutes, 29 seconds. Juraj Slafkovsky was officially the lowest ice time of any Habs forward tonight. He actually came in 1 second under Joshua Roy. So the least used Hab tonight was Juraj Slafkovsky, only 12 shifts. He did not play in overtime. He had 5 hits. He was being physical, but a lot of them were after the plays were over. Kirby Dach, like I said, Jesse, started to gain his confidence, had a sick between the legs deke as he went in and drew a penalty. He still looks like he's kind of coasting a bit and a bit of a blunder in overtime, though it wasn't totally his fault. But we got to talk just quickly about Slav. I know this video is going a bit long, but look, I'm not worried about Slav, but right now, he looks like he did in the first half of last year. Maybe he's a second half player. Maybe this is going to be the thing that we learn about him, is after Christmas, he just picks it up, or after the trade deadline, he picks it up. Maybe, but, this was his chance to really prove himself, and I thought he played with a bit of effort, but just the results are not there. He did not look good again tonight. I thought he looked like the worst of the 3 on the 4th line, with him, Dach, and Armia, and I think there's a reason he only played 8 minutes and 16 seconds of even strength time on ice. Only Armia played less. I don't know. I'm not happy with it, and I don't think he's happy with it either. I just can only hope that he bounces back next game, because I think a lot of fans are starting to worry. I'm not at that point yet, but like, buddy, something's got to give at some point.
And it was very rare where he's just not very noticeable in the game whatsoever. And, nice to see Dach, after talking, like how to step it up, that he did bring his game up there a little bit. I'm confident that Slav will get there as well. But obviously, it's a little bit frustrating. You have to feel for him at this certain point, right? It's nice at least that Dach is kind of taking those steps in the right direction. You have to feel like Marty, again, is the one that's always kind of took Slav under his wing. So you have to feel like they're going to be working behind the scenes to really figure this out. I think the answers are simple. It's the same for him as this Montreal Canadiens game. It's simplify, take those opportunities that are kind of given to you, play a little bit more of that north-south game, because I know that Slav dropped a little bit of weight, and I'm wondering if he's a little bit better with a couple more pounds, because when he was the best was when he was really physical. We're seeing like sometimes this year where he's hitting, and then he's kind of the guy going to the ice, where very much at the second half of last season, we're seeing anybody's coming into contact with Slav, they're bouncing off. He has the puck. He's making things kind of happen as a result. I think it's about kind of fine-tuning it. It's technically kind of like just his second year, so a little bit of a sophomore slump with the injuries that Slav has had, which is kind of par for the course. We see with a lot of different prospects where they do go through a different trajectory, like this. So I think it's all about really just being patient with Slav, and he's going to turn the corner eventually.
Get him into ma poule mouillée. Immédiatement, Tabarnak. Get him in there. Get him some puts in. Feed him. Make him huge. Make him a net front presence. But here's the thing. I think he should be taking those one-time bombs in the power play again. I miss that. I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Shot threat.
Yeah, it's a shot threat. It's a shot threat on both sides. Why not do it? Why are we running Dach there on the right side, who all he does is just, now, to be fair, he had a couple nice passes to the middle that Suzuki fanned on. There's a million things we can talk about this video. It's getting too long. Thanks for watching. That'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you think Juraj Slafkovsky should eat poutines, leave a comment down below. If you think he should not, and that's not the solution, also leave a comment. We'd appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.